So good morning, January the 22nd, 2015. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is the number 6 into the semester, and according to the schedule of our syllabus, we're going to discuss module number 3. We finished discussing module number 2 on Monday, and we talked a little bit more about ethics in the context of photo sharing, using the examples of online privacy. And you still remember the very interesting pictures there. And then we moved to the idea of the corporate social responsibility. I think we did a little bit on that. Now, before we come to the ideas of digital divide today, I would like to provide a little bit interesting, complete summary, or better say a review on the CSR context. So get ready. We finished the first part of CSR, and we continue with the second part of CSR today. So be ready.
Mass layoffs and record profits at the same time, manager salaries, scarcity of natural resources, and imminent climate catastrophes, morally questionable advertising, child labor, corporate fraud, financial crisis, and the Occupy Wall Street movement. These are just a few examples you may have heard about under the topic of sustainability, business ethics, or corporate social responsibility. These themes raise questions about justice for current as well as for future generations. We want to ask, corporate social responsibility, CSR for short, what is this? This man made headlines a few years ago. In 2004, Angelo Ugolotti learned from investigators that he was chairman of the board of several companies set up by his employer, the Italian milk concern Parmalat. Angelo, however, had not even heard of those companies, and Parmalat was only responsible for the switchboard. You can imagine how the story goes. Corporate fraud at its best, bogus companies, cooking the books, bribery, accounts in the Cayman Islands, the whole works. The task of corporate social responsibility is to prevent these and other morally reprehensible practices which can weaken society, damage companies, and hurt employees. More and more companies have realized the relevance of moral practices in their businesses, even though they have not always sufficiently implemented CSR yet. Concrete preventative measures are often labeled risk management, a term more commonly used for avoiding financial risks and damage to a company's reputation. No one likes bad press, right? Thus, companies define clear rules, so-called compliance or value management systems. For example, you can accept a bottle of wine from the supplier, but you have to pass up a golfing trip to Hawaii. However, risk and compliance management are only one aspect of corporate responsibility correctly understood. Firstly, CSR is not just about preventing bad practices, like corruption and fraud and so on. Secondly, this approach does not question a company's business activities as such. In fact, compliance management could be an efficient control mechanism even in organizations like the mafia. The more challenging question is, how can companies contribute to a good society through good business practices? Oh, that's easy, they say. We'll create a charity foundation or donate a lot of money and thus do good. Wrong. That won't hurt and may even help, but it's not systemic change. The important thing is, CSR is about how companies make profits, not about how they spend them. Corporate social responsibility must not simply be the repair center of capitalism. It has to demand systemic change in a market economy. This requires a new role for the key players in this game. Companies must become not only economic, but also moral actors. What's required and important is a stronger integrative perspective based on a system of deontological values and which is closely related to the company's core business. This means social and ecological criteria must be taken into consideration. For example, in the treatment of employees, organization of the production process, offered and produced products and services, and responsible business practices of suppliers, the so-called supply chain. By the way, virtuous managers or the honorable merchant alone will not suffice. We need employees of integrity at all levels of the company, but we also need organizational structures and clear rules. But relying on a code of conduct is also short-sighted, because in extreme cases, it means act according to some given rules, which is the opposite of ethical reflection, namely actual thinking about good and evil, right and wrong. In other words, CSR is always about both individuals and institutional structure. In business ethics, one speaks of individual ethics and institutional ethics. But isn't that unrealistic? Shouldn't the state do more to promote a good and fair society? Granted, it is unrealistic, and that's exactly why such questions are important. Business ethicists don't just ask what the world is like, but also what it should be like, how it ought to be. At the very least, we want to suggest where the journey should lead. At the same time, we want to make practical suggestions about how to embark on that journey. One speaks of questions of justification on the one hand and of implementation on the other, preferably in that order. The state, particularly through politics and law, can contribute to the implementation of corporate responsibility, but only within a limited range. If we look at society from a bird's eye view, we can spot different social systems. The economic system, the political system, the justice system, for example. One can speak of the functionally differentiated society we live in. About 60 or 70 years ago, some German economist came up with an idea that led to the development of the social market economy as we know it, particularly in Europe. The thought that a market economy should be embedded in a political framework that determines the rules of the game. This underlying idea is still important, but it has become distinctly more difficult to rely on the state alone. Societal differentiation has progressed because most systems have internationalized. Globalization is the magic word that applies to most systems, but not all of them. Politics, and particularly law, tend to be bound to one country's borders, while the economy, above all, is highly internationalized and globalized. This makes effective regulation difficult. Thus, it is now not only about the classic rules of the game, but also about the moves of the players, the corporations, in a changed and changing world. And beyond politics and law, civil society, in particular NGOs, have gained a strong influence on the economy, as both vicious watchdogs and as partners of business. In the society of the 21st century, we find new, rather odd hybrid constructs under the notion of soft laws. These are collective individual commitments to comply with certain social and ecological standards, such as collective industry agreements or the UN Global Compact. So companies are supposed to operate responsibly. Is anything really happening? There is no clear answer to that question. The cynics say that CSR is like teenage sex. Everybody says they are doing it, but few actually are. And those who really do it rather badly. The truth is more nuanced, of course. In the area of corporate responsibility, there is also the good, the bad, and the really ugly. More and more companies deal with CSR and take the first steps towards responsible business practices. We can definitely observe a distinct effort, even though it is still a delicate little plant. And of course, there are still those who misconstrue CSR as a PR instrument and simply want to greenwash or bluewash their company. And unfortunately, there are still companies that don't give a damn about questions of corporate responsibility and which even trample on justice. Got all that? Let's sum it up. First, CSR stands for Corporate Social Responsibility. Second, CSR is based on the question of good business for a good society, today and tomorrow. Third, corporate social responsibility is not charity. It is about how companies earn their profits, not how they spend them. Fourth, it takes employees of integrity and appropriate organizational structures to realize CSR. It is a matter of individual and institutional ethics. Fifth, politics continue to play an important role. But in a globalized world, the effects of regulation can be limited. And thus, sixth, companies play an increasingly important role. Seventh, soft laws are new governance mechanisms based on companies' self-commitment. Finally, CSR has arrived in business practice. It is necessary to support these developments professionally, but also to provide critical perspectives with respect to them. Research on issues of corporate responsibility is still beginning, and future developments will be exciting to see. It is unclear whether a good and fair society can be created with the help of companies, but it can't be created without them. Oh, we almost forgot. Besides corporate responsibility, there is also consumer responsibility. You can practice that the next time you go shopping. And there may be more from us on that topic.
So here we are. We have got a very good review on the context of CSR by this Professor Vincent Gellert. What I would like you to do, and we have been doing it a couple of times, is to spend 3 minutes time gathering your thoughts about this, and then at least 2 minutes time discussing with your learning partner or anyone close to you in the classroom. And then I'm going to pass the microphone to ask for your feedback. Now let me give you some guided inquiry practice. Actually, it has been done here towards the end of this video. What you need to do is what is CSR and what is not CSR. Okay, what is CSR and what is not CSR. Okay, and the answer is already there, but you can put the answer into your personal perspective in the specific regions where you grew up. For example, in Macau or in your hometown inside mainland China. Okay, now go ahead. It's your time. Talk or gather information. If you need some time, okay, better say if you need some paper, I'm going to pass some paper to you. And the best way for you to keep track of your thought is definitely using the online journals here, and then share that with the whole classroom here. If you want to keep this to your learning partner, you can use the Pair 197 forum here. It's already installed for you ever since last lecture. Okay? It's your time to put things in perspective. Continuing our discussions of last time. Okay?
You might want to, let's say, join one of the folks over there because we have to do discussions, okay? Basically, it's true, but they almost pay up, so you can join any of them. Just ask for them. Maybe you can go to Lancy, okay? Lancy's the girl in blue, okay? I think you can just go and say hello to her, okay? Just go. We do not want to leave you alone, okay? Just go to Nancy.
Let's see. This it's the first time during this discussions. So this is not Okay, remember, what CSR is not, okay? We used the example of STDM from Macau last time. It's a company which earns any revenue in Macau. They also spend half of the revenues there. Okay? So and then what CSR is not here said is not charity, all right? It's not charity. That means it's not so much about how the companies spend the money, but how, in what way they're going to earn the revenue. Okay, I'm just giving you some hints from the video. All right, just keep on with your discussions with your partner, and then try to put things together. All right, we still have 3 more minutes. I have to make sure the microphone works. Hello? In a moment, we're going to start with your pair. Oh, remember, I've given you a challenge last time, because I said if you became someone responsible for developing a CSR for a specific company at your hometown, okay, what can you think of to implement something good for that hometown? Because one of the precepts of CSR is good business for a good society, right? So, and it's not about charity. It's not about spending your money. It's not about how a company spends its money. It's about how the company earns its revenue in such a way that it brings up something more sustainable development for a particular country, which is based on the video you saw on Monday. But today, when you look at the video presented by the professor from St. Gallen, he has actually put in a lot of very good things about social justice, about the fraud committed by companies, about the commitment of a company. I've given you a lot of very interesting bits and pieces of idea. Now, let's see how you're going to put things into perspective. So, Sammy and Anna, are you ready? Just share whatever you put. Yes. Hello, and if you don't mind, just face the camera. Hello.
Hello. I think CSR is something about how to deal with the balance between the profit and the for example, a company should work out with the sewage treatment.
All right.
After they make some production.
Okay.
And,
That's very good.
I think CSR is not about charity. However, on the other hand, I think the lowest salary and the highest working hours is also a part of the CSR.
Right. Okay. I think you have given a very interesting examples, which is more oriented toward, say, the environmental protections. So, a company who is making a lot of products may have some effect on the environment, and one of these is the sewage treatment. Okay. Anything from Sammy?
I think CSR is not something that you did something not responsible for the society and then you give some money to make an compensation.
Okay.
But instead, it's something that you take the responsibility and the process when you are making profits.
Okay, I think you have walked several steps further into the context of today's video. Very good. Thank you, Sammy. Could you pass the microphone to maybe the lady after you, Nancy? What do you have something to say? Hi. Yes. Can you introduce yourself? It's your first time here.
Hi, my name is Ice.
Ice? Okay. So what do you think?
And I don't really know the rules of the
CSR?
CSR, but I think it is a system, it's the way we live now, and it's how the world working.
Okay. So you believe it's something positive, right? Rather than something negative.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Could you pass it to Nancy? Hi, Nancy. What do you think?
Hi. In my view, with the development of the modern society, it is more necessary for us to pursue a better environment.
Okay.
Although because I'm from the mainland China, although in the mainland China, the economy is developing very, very, very fast.
Okay.
But a very serious phenomenon is 雾霾.
对对对.
Yes.
Particularly in Beijing.
And recent days, APEC,
Yeah.
it happened in Beijing. Everyone wanted APEC blue.
Okay.
So they stopped the activity of all companies in Beijing.
Right.
And the sky is blue, the green, the grass is green.
Right.
However, when APEC ended,
Right.
all the
Return to
companies
the-
started to produce, and Beijing still
Yes.
in 雾霾. So I think corporate social responsibility is to find a balance between the economy and the environment.
Right.
So the companies should choose friendly environmental ways to produce products.
Right. I think you have touched a very interesting point because we all would like the companies to be responsible and to be loving to the environment so that we all live in a very good environment. But somehow because of the profits, because of the large amount of expenses required to do good in terms of producing the product, they are not willing to do it. And one of the touchy issues in the video today is, what about the government? Can they do something to regulate them? And then looks like if we expect our government to do something, are they doing something now? Or yes, they're doing something during the period of the APEC. But after that, everything goes back to the original. So that is something we would like to see what can we do together, right? So can you pass the microphone to maybe Yeoman? Yeoman, do you have anything to say?
Yes, although it is talking about make profits in economy, but it also wants the environment to be better. I think the information system also in your lesson is have this point.
Okay, I think very, very good. You try to put it from another point of view to see what is meant by CSR. Can we be well informed so as to make well decisions or good decisions. Okay, can you pass the microphone to Billy and Wyson? Yes, hello Billy. What do you think, Billy?
So I think the main point of the CSR is the economic profit of the company and how the company to do something to affect the environment and to affect their labor. This I think is the main idea of the CSR. And
Okay.
In the case, I think although the government can set something laws or regulations to prevent this situation, the corporation is also have the responsibility to maintain the environment better by and the last one, I think every people should have the responsibility to keep the environment better because the structure of government and the corporation is formed by the people. It means we. So I think if to keep this good, I think we need to do by yourself first. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Billy. Now, everyone seems to be interested in the environment. Now, let's take a look at Macau, right? Macau is a very small area. Now, we do not have a lot of factory because we do not have that kind of environment, just like in the 80s, where we have a lot of garment factories, and in the garment factories, we have a lot of what we call the dyeing industry. That means we have the clothes, and we have the raw material. We need to dye the clothes to different colors. And though at the end of the dyeing of the clothes, we have a lot of the dirty waters coming into the sewage system. And things like this is going to pollute somehow maybe the water system of this area. But now we don't have this problem. If we think about some of the pollutions that is going to be produced by Macau, can you think of anything now?
Yes, I
What?
think in Macau, a kind of bird, but I don't know how to say it.
We have the
English.
area
Yeah,
where we can watch a lot of
have
broad
something,
birds. Yeah.
birds called Heliopilo.
Yeah, right,
Just
right,
like
right.
this bird. In the past, we can see this bird in
A lot,
Macau.
yes.
Yeah,
But
now
Not much.
yeah.
The reason?
The reason I think is have the two main reasons. I think
Yeah.
the first one is the noisy pollution.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
the work is very
Well,
much,
I could suggest one critical reason, that is the lighting in Macau from different buildings now
yeah
would
it's like
definitely
this over
hurt the coming and going of those birds. And you know what? One of the big projects they are building in the Cotai Strip now, based on the macro road. You can see that just next to Lin Fa Hao on the road. It's called the Studio City of Macau. Okay, and what they're doing is they're going to build a studio city based on the Batman's Gotham City. Okay, and so every night they're going to have different kind of very strong light. They're going to eject light on the sky with the logo of the Batman, so that you can always see the sky with different kind of lighting. Now I think with your suggestion, birds do not like that, and then they will not come back to the same spot. Unfortunately, the area where you talk about the birds is just next to that construction site, and later on is the resort. And we cannot expect birds coming back to this because it's so bright. Okay, so that is one thing I could remember. Now, what about you, Wyson? Can you share with us your perspective? CSR?
CSR, just like Billy said, is responsibility for the society. But
Okay.
I think that this just not the environment.
Okay.
It's about the economic way. Just such like they treat the employee
Right.
a good salary, and they just like the employee do good things,
Okay.
and they should get good pay, just
Okay.
like that. Yes. And the other way is thing is to the society, just like the bus company.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they should have some more good bus, because there's many accidents, or the
Right.
bus may always broken or something.
Yes. The
I
green
think-
bus you're talking about.
Yes, the green bus. Yes, I think this is the green bus companies. They have responsibility for this. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So they need to do a lot more better. Okay. So can you pass the microphone? Yes, to Timmy Group. Yes. Hello.
Hello. I think CSR is the idea of CSR is responsibility of everyone.
Okay.
Because we are in this country, in this world, so we have a responsibility to make it better.
Okay. So in what way can we do it better? That the issue is in what way?
Maybe the company can spend some money to teach people the technology about their company need.
Okay. All right. So I think you have given us a very good example. Maybe I could give you a video later on to show you some typical example. Do you have anything to say for your partner? Your partner, do you have anything to say? No? Okay. Can you pass the microphone to Angel? Hi, Angel.
I think CSR is a company. The company has a sense of responsibility towards the community,
Okay.
and also the community empowerment. And its aim is to embrace the responsibility for corporate actions to encourage a positive impact on the government and the
Okay.
consumers, employees, investors, communities, and others.
Wow, you have a very good descriptions for the missions for CSR in the company. First, it has responsibility for the employee to do good for them, and then the government need to do something. Okay, what about your partner? Do you have anything to say? Okay, can you pass the microphone to the ladies here? Hello, nice to see you here. Can you share with us something?
I think CSR is the company should have the responsibility of the society.
Okay, in what way? Can you suggest something?
In every way.
Okay, such as,
Such as
give an example.
there is a problem in the world is the food problem.
Okay, then you mean not enough food, right?
No, that means the food is had a problem.
Okay. Oh, that means the food quality is not
Yes.
good. Okay.
I
Okay.
think this is the because the company the CSR of the company is
It's not good.
Not good.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I think you have given a very interesting example, such as the milk powder produced by some company inside China, right? So can you pass the microphone to your partner? Do you have anything to share with us?
Yeah, I think CSR is about the companies shouldn't sacrifice the employees' rights to
Right.
make their own profits.
Okay.
They have a responsibility to protect the employees.
Right.
Like a company in mainland China named Fushikang.
Yes,
There
you've
were
given
many people committed
Suicide, right.
in this company because their rights, basic rights, can't be protected.
Oh, that's very good. Now, another very good example that it's currently produced by a televisions in Hong Kong is the ATV. ATV is running into a very big problem that their employees have not been paid even in the month of December. And one big news comes up today is in order to get the monthly salary back, they ask individual of the employee to sign a very interesting agreement. And it turns out that the agreement was actually declarations of being a debtor to a particular a board member who's willing to lend money to the company. But they actually should be paid with their monthly salary. But in order to get the money, they have to declare that now I'm willing to get this money because I consider this a lending, borrowing this money from one of the board member. That definitely goes very much against the CSR of the company. It's a very typical examples that employees are not being treated very well after they have done the work. Okay, so it's very interesting. Now, I think you have already seen some examples about this. I would say that we're going to help you to look at several more examples, but let's get back to the issues for today. We're going to introduce you the idea of what is meant by digital divide. So one of the a very interesting example in the context of CSR is many companies would like to do something good, not from the perspective of giving charity, but from the perspective of doing something good for the society, a good business for a good society. So they consider bridging the digital divide gap. So what is meant by a digital divide? So let us try to see this one, bridging the digital divide gap. What are they doing here? Well, we know that in many countries of the world, okay, even in many parts of mainland China today, we do not have all the best things that we enjoyed here in this part of the country. There are many people who don't even have food to eat. There are many people who don't have access to technology. We have food to eat, we have access to technologies, we have people who could share with us knowledge. We have access to the intellect. The knowledge of the world seems to be just fingertips away. But for those people living in very rural and poor areas of the world, what can we do to help them?
The digital divide means is a divide dividing those who have and those who have not. And in the context of today's world, those who have access to technologies, access to resources, access to knowledge, access to education, but those who don't have access to all of these. Let me give you an example of what you as an individual can do from the perspective of a college student. It is from the Hong Kong Polytechnic University's Service Learning Program. Now, fortunately, at the University of Macau, we do have a service learning program. We are learning how to pick it up, but look what they have been doing.
I like service, yeah, because a lot of people always serve me, yeah. So I think I have a lot of experience about service.
I would like to make this world a better place. Like, there are lots of discontent, discord in our world, but by knowing more about each other, by stepping into each other's shoes, that you can really understand their needs, their concerns, what they want, and all this can help make, by mutual understanding, you can know more about each other and help making our world a better place, a more peaceful one.
If we want to have our younger generation more fruitful and more advancing towards and being more competitive with others, we need to do more.
But I like to think of service learning as the closest to a complete education.
It posed a great impact throughout my life, that changing my attitude and strengthen my belief in helping others, and also staying strong when we have difficulties.
After the service, I really pushed to continue my thinking about problems and other things for now.
Even the service recipients, their impact will be very short.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
So it's a learning path that the students most benefit from doing those service learning things, right?
Realization, awareness, and self-development.
Find more yourself.
Service and learning together.
When you put academic components into service and let students learn about these academic components through giving service to people.
Service learning is a way to encourage students to willing to put their knowledge in practice. So the learning part is the most important.
Service learning offers students the unique opportunity to engage with the society and rethink the meaning of their study and their role in society. In this episode, we will follow Dr. Nai, Dr. Chang, and Dr. Ng in the Service Learning Project, in which students visit and teach computing skills to children in Cambodia. Dr. Nai, Dr. Chang, and Dr. Ng will also share with us their experience of teaching service learning subjects and the challenges and rewards that come with it.
Service learning is rewarding, but I do have to say it is probably the most challenging thing in terms of teaching. First challenge is from the student level. In general, whenever we bring students on these subjects, we always have students whose idea is to go on there as a cheap holiday and just to play. We find that the reflective essays have been a wonderful way in dealing with them.
These days seems a bit messy, but you guys make me know how to consider all others and make me know how to cooperate with you guys.
The reflection really helped us, and I really want to thank my supervisors and also their tutors. Yeah, they really helped us because every night we have meetings, and all that kind of thing that really helped us, and they really do other kind of reflection with us when we went back to Hong Kong.
Giving them a lot of reflection to making them really think upon what they were learning. I think that actually had a very positive impact upon the motivation of our students, motivating them to actually put themselves aside and actually serve and try to learn from this experience. So can you share with us about what you have learned?
You do not know the result if you never try. Just in case, if I did not go to Canada.
In the past, I was too target-oriented, like what I would like to do, what I would like to achieve. For some of the time, I may be quite reckless towards others' needs, like the survey recipients' needs. I may not care too much about their needs, but through this experience that I learned that it is important for us to step into their shoes, to know more about their abilities, their needs, and to conduct their service projects in a more effective manner.
The other challenge that I can think of immediately is in terms of the challenges in terms of knowledge that we are dealing with. Another example also comes from this summer when we actually put together a project that involved bringing our students to this orphanage that was serving HIV/AIDS positive orphans. We gave a lot of training. We gave them a lot of preparation. We had doctors coming from Prince of Wales Hospital. We had the orphanage director coming to talk about the orphans and so on. They went in there within 3 seconds. They were with the kids. They were talking with the kids. They were playing with them. They were holding them. And I think that the biggest difference was the amount of preparation that we gave them.
As one of the preparation activities, students participated in a warm-up service at a local school of special education, in which they visited and played games with a group of mentally challenged kids. At the end of the service, they were given a debriefing by Dr. Nai.
Let me just ask a question of my own, okay? Who was not comfortable at the beginning? The reason why we brought you here is because think about this environment. This is a very normal environment, right? Look at how clean the place is. I wonder how many of our classrooms in Angkor are this clean. Now think about Cambodia. You are in a very different environment. I guarantee you it will be nowhere as clean as here. The kids will be something that you have not seen before. Some of the kids today, they were mentally challenged, but they were clean. Some of the kids in Cambodia will not be clean. Most of them will not be wearing shoes. You will not be wearing shoes. The environment will not be clean like this. There will be dust, there will be dirt everywhere. Right? So in a way, the reason why we brought you here is because we want to see how you will react, to the challenge of being in a situation that is not exactly something that you're used to.
Well, I'm really glad that I come and be able to observe this particular project in this class. It is obvious that Professor Nai, Grace, Stephen Chen, Professor Chen had prepared them very well. The expectation of the student need to be well prepared. I think the staff themselves need to be well prepared. I think this is one lesson that I hope that at least I learned from this experience, and I certainly will try to encourage all the staff to remember that when they start designing a service learning course.
The students work in a team, and as we shared just now, there are lots of problems in terms of teamwork, students working together. Throughout the process, the students actually learn how to work with each other, handle personal conflicts, handle differences of opinion, and through the process, they actually assessing each other. Sometimes you don't really need to go in and say, okay, who has been the leader? It is obvious from how they interact with each other who has been stepping up. Sometimes we put this student in as a team leader. It turns out another person is actually a much more effective leader. And this we can see because we work alongside them and we can see them. And the assessment sometimes is actually quite easy because it is quite very obvious.
Then also, because we are a team, we need to know what happened during the conversation, during the visit. Is that okay? I was just thinking about how students learn, how students learning connects to the academic discipline, and I think that one of the ways that they connect the most is that it actually lets students take whatever they were learning in the classroom and put it to real use. All of the stuff that is from 312 all of a sudden starts to make sense, and that was because they actually had to understand this stuff in order to put it in place.
Most of the times in the class, we lecturer only talk about some theories, and in fact we may not know how the theory works. But when we go into the real world and we work with that theories, and we find that, oh, this theory is work like that.
And in some of our other projects where we actually get students to go and teach, because we are from the Department of Computing, we ask them to go in and teach programming or something like that. And really one of the students came back and told me, said, wow, when I started preparing the lesson plans, when I started teaching, then I realized how many holes there were.
I remember in these few days I have taught my shipmates, because I'm living in Hawaii, I taught my shipmate about the programming. Yeah, and I really learned a lot from her, because I remember we revised the programming language because I haven't touched programming for nearly one semester. Yeah.
Through those subsequent projects, they provide the triggers, the catalyst, for students to eager to learn more, and then we can offer them more after this. That is the trick. I mean, we are not saying that all the subsequent projects can fulfill all the components of either professional knowledge. That is not necessary. But then it serves as a way to initiate and motivate our students. That is more important. That is the purpose of education.
Distance learning is to use one's intrinsic value to bring out some extrinsic force that is spare to you, that is spare for you, but is essential for others.
Surface learning can help you find more yourself.
I think that doing the service learning subjects are probably, even forget the subject, even the project itself is probably one of the most demanding things that I've had to deal with. I think the biggest thing is that it's one of the most satisfying things that I've ever done. It's one of the most challenging things that I've ever done, but it's also one of the most personally satisfying things. To see the students grow, to see how to actually watch them grow over the course of one summer while they are working with the projects. I remember one summer where you see the student at the beginning of the summer and you see him at the end of the summer, and you're like, wow, this kid is like two different people. And then watching them, start from being just simply participation to starting to coordinate, to starting to lead, and to start to propose projects. And towards the end of his academic studies, he was actually going out and recruiting new project staff for us. And that is just so completely amazing. And I don't know, I mean, in many ways, I see our students as, okay, they're not my kids, but they're somebody else's kids. And, I'm sure that his parents would be happy to see him learning something like this. And as his teachers, it is the duty and the responsibility that society or our job has placed upon us. But at the same time, it's also just, I mean, what could be more satisfying than actually seeing us make an impact in somebody's life, something that visible. You could teach like half a dozen subjects, get a really good SIQ, and still not see that, because the students will not remember you after the subjects. But for the service learning projects, I've never had a student who went on the service learning and they could not remember me afterwards. That's not going to happen.
I think it is important. Now I'm more convinced that particularly for academic staff who had never done it before. I would strongly encourage those staff to take time to come out to one of the service learning courses to understand and experience what this is all about before you get into the planning, before you get into the designing of the course on your own.
Okay, let's return to digital divide. So what does this video has to do with digital divide? Well, first of all, we would like you to think about the questions. What can you as an individual do to bridge the digital divide where you live? Well, many people will say, well, if I have some money, maybe I could buy some computing devices and donate it to those who need it. So that's very good. That's very individual effort. Or maybe if I know the content of CSR, I try to understand the situations from my personal perspective, and I document the stories of those who are in need. And I try to do presentations to those companies who has the resources to help, and I try to convince them that one of the missions in the CSR practice is to help bridge the digital divide gap of the particular area or an area far beyond where they are, suppose in the blue regions in China. Or in the context of a university, one of the CSR practice that could be done by the university is how are they going to integrate the content of CSR into the learning of the students, so that once the students understand the implications of that, they could go on doing something good for the society, but also at the same time learn something practical, in particular apply what they learn from class to something who are really in need. And then they have to get some staff convenes and the staff will group together and try to bring together the project of service learning, invite students to join, give them the necessary training, and bring them to the field and let them experience that. And that is one of the video produced here. And individual students who join the project believe that they have missions in their life they would like to achieve. Unfortunately, at the Polytechnic University in Hong Kong, this project has become something students, once they join it, could earn the graduation credit, and everybody is happy. So I'm going to show you the stories for individual students who's going to share with you their experience next time. But this time it will be in Cantonese, because the students sharing that in Cantonese. If you cannot understand Cantonese, then you just find someone to watch them with you at home. Okay, I put up the links, all right? So let's try to get back to the context here. Besides using the Polytechnic University example, I've also given you different documentaries from Canada and also some very deep and very useful discussions on the situations in America. So you can click on those links and then you can get a better perspective on that. Definitely, it's going to be a very meaningful subject for you to understand. So let me close today by taking attendance for today, and also give you a little bit of reminder. Next week will be the week when you have to submit your Artifacts for Learning Contract number 1, which is based on the theme of inquiry-based learning. And remember, you need to submit a journal, discussion detail, a report, and a blog, and also a proposal, a 1 meeting minute. Now remember, do it with the context of choosing what you want to do, okay? I've given you a set of items you can do, but the context, the topic itself, you can actually choose it. For example, after watching today's video, if you have some inspirations about it, you can use the video as the basis to write your journal. It's fine, don't worry much about it. Match it up with questions from the reading list and use this video as an extra resource, okay? It's okay. Everything must be flexible enough, but you have to take a very serious attitude doing that, because you're going to learn a lot from this, okay? All right. Yes, let me take attendance first, and then I'll come back to the pairing. I just have 2 more minutes, it should be good enough. So Angela's here. Jing C, are you here today? Are you here? Thank you very much. Horace, thank you. Andy, thank you. And then Anna, yes. Annie, thank you. Billy, thank you. Giles, thank you. Timmy, thank you. Wyson, thank you. Sammy, okay. Nancy, CS Sophie, thank you. And Edward, thank you. Now everybody is here, 14 persons. Now let's take a look at the pairing list, okay? The pairing list, as of last time, I got the following information, and I got it updated already. Yes, it's right here. So you see that only Jing Si has not been paired with Human. Okay, so Human and actually Human and Nancy are paired already, right? Some mistake. Okay, so actually Nancy and Human is paired. So it's not this one, right? This is Horace. Who's this? Let's see. D A. Oh, this is Horace. So you are paired with Human, right? Okay, so I pair you up with Human again, and that means Horace and Jing Si will be paired because of by eliminations. You're the only two left. Okay. All right. So I'm going to fix the problem because I see some conflicting information in the tree. So actually, let me confirm. Human and Nancy, right? Are you sure? Please make sure. I have 4 persons now. Okay. Okay. Let me wait until the end of the day. You send me another message. Okay. The message you send me to pair yourself up is here. All right. So this is week number 2. I guess in week number 2, right here. Okay. But for your exceptional case, do it in week number 3. Okay. Because I have 4 persons who left to be paired up. So the 4 of you, please send me a message here in week number 3's Dr. Webb's Q&A hotline before the end of the day, okay? And I'm going to pair you up according to your wishes. I have 4 persons now. Jing Si, Lancy, Human, and Horace. Okay? Before the end of the day, I'm expecting 4 individual messages to pair the 4 of you up into 2 pairs. Okay. That's it. Next week, I'm going to show you one example video from a very interesting company in Hong Kong who's doing an excellent job in CSR. Okay, so maybe you can have enough perspective. So that's it for today's CISG113 Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Yes. Today. It's okay. I'll make sure definitely on Monday. Yes, I'll give you the time. Thank you. I'm sorry now. You see, because I'm too busy to remember that. Yes, Sammy has actually signed up for today's sharing. Do you think you need 5 minutes? Can we spend 5 minutes now? 3 minutes? Can you? All of you? Can you do that? Or next Monday, which day? Next Monday, right? Next Monday. Okay. Next Monday, the first priority, I'll give you a time first. All right? So, thank you very much. Because when I watch the clock, it's 11:15, it's the time I got this business class. Okay? So, thank you very much, Sammy. I have to apologize for this little mistake. All right? Thank you very much. All right? So, that's it for today. And remember, I'm going to send a call for sharing again today for next week. But the first person to share it will be Sammy, brought forward from last week. Okay? If you want to share, just sign up there. Remember, every time you do the sharing here, you earn points towards the end of the semester. And 20 points altogether out of 100 points is a huge amount of bonus. Okay? Don't miss the chance. Alright, so that's it for today.